I, 90 minutes, work in a fairly popular chain retail store. Everything started about 3 days ago when I was working the closing shift. One thing to note about our store is that if an item is not in stock, the customer can ask us to order the item to any branch of their choosing, to be delivered for the next day. The woman in question walked through the doors about 2 minutes before we were closing and walked straight to the register where I was working. She looked quite rushed and started explaining that she was here to collect an order she had placed. I politely explained that the area to collect deliveries had closed several hours ago and that she would have to return tomorrow if she wanted to get her delivery. She began pleading and explained that she had been too busy taking care of her children, who were with her, to come and pick her order up. I explained that the delivery area had its own separate staff, and anyone with access to the room had already left the building. She seemed frustrated by this response, but left with her children. Since I was already scheduled to be working the following day, I knew I would have to deal with the woman and was dreading having them return to the store, as not only was she condescending and rude, but her children were quite loud and energetic and knocked over a lot of shit, which I had to clean up. The following day, I was about halfway through my shift when the woman walked up to my register and placed a candle on the counter, which I rung her up for, and then she started demanding that I track her order as she went up to the collections area and they were unable to find the parcel. I checked the system and noticed that the order was placed over a month ago, so I told her that because she had not picked up her order within the 14-day window, the order had likely been sent back to the warehouse. She flew off the handle, saying it was all my fault, and if I had just let her get the parcel yesterday, everything would have been fine. I tried to explain that the parcel would have already been sent back weeks ago, but before I could even finish my sentence, she picked up the candle and threw it at me. It was one of those candles in a glass jar, and it hit me in the temple and smashed to the ground, and I ended up falling and hitting my head on the wall behind me. As I was trying to get up, she started shouting even louder and started throwing other various objects at me. The commotion must have attracted security, as they ended up taking her to the back and held her and her 2 children there until the cops showed up, and my manger told me to go to the break room until she called me on my headset. I ended up sitting in the break room for about an hour and a half until my manger walked in with the cops. They sat down and started asking a bunch of questions about what happened, and I told them everything. Then they asked me if I wanted to press charges on the woman, and even though I was not seriously injured outside of a bruise on my head, I told them I would. My manager then told me to clock out early and said I could take the rest of the week off.